Hi everyone, I'm Brianna and this is Purified People, back for another video, feeling a lot lighter and a lot brighter than I have in the past few months. And for those of you who know me, I am somebody who wants to make that consistent upward trend in my life, in every area of my life, and look at all of our choices as investments. And so within that, I am somebody who evaluates my growth pretty regularly. I like to take a look and see, usually at the end of the week, where I'm at, where I can do better, what's working, what's not, what I need to incorporate into my daily habits that will propel me forward, and what needs to be weeded out that's not working. So my focus has really not been there for a while because I've kind of drowned myself out a little bit of focusing on those daily habits, but I'm working my way back out. And as you can see, I have my smile's back and I'm feeling a lot better. So quotes, there's a quote that just comes to mind. You know, I'm always trying to evaluate my growth, and whether this pertains to you and might bring some meaning into your day, something that may resonate with you. This is why I'm just talking about it, because maybe you'll be able to relate. There's quotes that just kind of stick, or they'll jump into my head, that pertain to where I need to place my focus or place my attention. One reason why I love quotes, one reason why I love books, they allow us to develop our own understandings. And for me, if you saw me in my last couple of months of videos where I'm getting down in the trenches of getting real deep there in the thick of the mess of the world and trying to understand what we're up against, that's what more takes over my mind when I'm focused on that information. So I'm evaluating that. I'm evaluating that within myself as to whether or not information is leading to my growth, whether it is leading me to achieving my goals and achieving my higher purpose. And if it's not, what needs to go and what needs to come back in. And so the quote that's been coming to my head lately is one of Eleanor Roosevelt. And it's the quote of, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." And so, like I said, that's a quote that just has been coming into my mind. So to me, that means I need to revisit that quote and see how it pertains to my life at this time and what that means for me. And to me, there's always this juggling act, because I go back to about a year ago where I was not on social media and I was not looking at the news. I was so far away of any worldly information, really focused on my own life, and it was really bright, and I had so much momentum moving forward to the goals, and really nothing else existed. I was just in this whole magic of trying to create and imagine, and it was really freeing and just healing, and there were no limits or boundaries on what I felt like I could do. And fast forward, which has all been, so back then it was more wisdom based. You know, I was thinking a lot about ideas. So I guess I could say in Eleanor Roosevelt's mind, I had more of a great mind. I was working toward a great mind. It was more wisdom based, and that wisdom was coming from the people who I really admire and who I really find, their words to be motivating and thought leading. Those were usually the words of authors or just thought leaders that are here and still alive. And that was kind of where I placed and focused my attention. So then we kind of moved toward, fast forward, moving into starting to, I started to learn about investing, and then therefore I got back on Facebook because I was on a course. And so then I was on Facebook, which is incredibly overwhelming for me. And there was that whole thing. And then you're starting to see what other people are saying and other people's ideas. And then not only on Facebook, then that leads to YouTube, and then that leads to all these other ideas, and that leads to all these other events that are occurring. And, then it leads to you looking at headlines because you're trying to see what's happening in your investments and trying to develop this understanding. And you're looking toward those events. And like Eleanor Roosevelt said, average minds discuss events and small minds discuss people. And so you're focusing more on people, you're focusing more on events that are occurring. And I'm still always trying to decipher whether or not, I do think that it's important to understand what's going on as a whole. I don't think it's necessarily important to stay there, because if we stay there, we're not creating those ideas. And it's just been kind of hovering in my mind a lot lately that, the people who are making changes, whether those be good or bad changes or moving things into a direction, are the people who act. And there may be stronger forces than others, and they may be moving in multiple directions. But that's not to say that each and every one of us as individuals don't hold that personal power to be able to really do the same. And so yeah, my mind with this quote goes so many different directions. I think there's a balancing act when it comes to being in the know, but also not being consumed. There's never enough wisdom, but there is never ending information, and there's never ending knowledge. I know I talk about this quite a bit, especially in my last few videos, but I'm kind of coming out of the thick of the trenches, and it was dark down there. And all part of it, even when I was in those trenches, I knew I was in those trenches. And the fact that I was asking myself and having to ask myself, what I was doing that was throwing me off, even though I knew that answer. Because if you ask yourself that question, if you feel like you're off, you're not quite on your path, and you ask yourself where, internally, really ask, where am I going wrong? What is throwing me off? I feel like that answer will come to you in the blink of an eye. It's that first. It's almost just a idea without even any words. You just know exactly what it is. And it was always leading to that for me over this last month. And you'll watch me go, and that's just how I am. And you're always going to get authenticity from me. And I'll be very, very upfront about where I am in my journey. It's important to stay authentic. And hopefully, along this way, maybe we can relate throughout this process as to where we are, and help each other through those understandings. It's kind of how I see it. But I do find a lot of significance in that quote. And again, finding that balance, but also knowing there's just unlimited potential out there in the world. And I'm shifting back again for myself personally into more of a creative mode. That's not to say that where I'm at, because I'm really focused on investing as well. We're reaching some crisis times in the world, which along with crisis comes opportunity. And we have to just remember that there's a lot of opportunity. So I want to be educated and knowledgeable, which requires consuming some information to be able to get myself positioned financially into where I might have great gains and that investment with finances. But ultimately, that investment's going to be with, I'm working toward that great mind of discussing ideas and thinking of ideas to be able to invest in myself. So if any of this resonates with you, that's why I'm speaking out about it, not only just to get my thoughts out and to be able to move on from them, but to also maybe something I said spark something in you as well, to be able to, if you're stuck in the thick of it, in the trenches, and you're wanting to get out, maybe take a look at that quote and see if maybe it can propel you into the direction that you're looking for. So that's it for today, guys, and I will see you all on the next video.